to the Marketing Pulpit Show, and I am Robert Gatewood, your host. We are here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. bringing you the good of marketing gospel. We're not saving souls, we're saving businesses, saving jobs, saving our community. Now, if I happen to save a soul along the way, don't hold that against me. We'll just call that icing on the cake. Now, the mission at Marketing Pulpit Show is to build strong businesses in our community so that we can put our people to work. And we do that with business development, job creation, and service. So if you ever find yourself in a business crossroads and not sure which way to turn, just turn on the Marketing Pulpit Show because we're on a mission. The show is broadcast live from the illustrious Radio 1 studio. Welcome to the Marketing Pulpit Show, and I'm Robert Gatewood, your host. We are here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. bringing you the good marketing gospel. Not saving souls, we're saving businesses, saving jobs, saving our community. Now, if you ever find yourself at a business crossroads and not sure which way to turn, which many of us do, we get out here and start these businesses and we run into roadblocks and minefields and all types of challenges. Then if that's you, then tune into this show every Friday and we're going to work it out. We're going to get through it. That's right. I'm Robert Gatewood. I'm your host today. As I am every Friday, I'm a business developer by trade. I actually have a company called Gatewood Marketing and Web. And you can find out more about me by going to gatewoodmarketing.com. I'm also an adjunct professor at Prince George's Community College in the Washington, D.C. area, where I teach marketing, I teach social media strategies, I teach networking, teach digital marketing and PR and communications. So I handle quite a few topics over there in the area of marketing, and you can find out more about them by going to pgcc.edu. I've also written a couple of books, one called Smarter Than the Boss, one called Played in Full, and I'm also in the government space with the Small Business Administration as a consultant in technology field in the 8A program. So, like the young guys say, I have some receipts. I do this. I've been doing this for a long period of time. It's part of my mission. It's part of my, what they call it, my raison d'etre, my reason for being. It's part of my purpose. And if you don't have a purpose, and everybody has a purpose, sometimes we don't know what that purpose is. So you might spend a few minutes ruminating, going into a corner somewhere, locking yourself in a closet and say, what is my purpose? What am I on this earth to do? Am I just here just to make money or just to pass the time? Nope. Doesn't work that way. You have a purpose. And if you can tie that purpose into a business idea, man, you're on to something then. You're cooking in hot grease, as they say down south. Anyway, welcome to the show. We have an exciting show today. As always, we're going to talk about some items in the news. We're also going to talk about our topic today. What to do when you're smarter than the boss. Do you have a boss? Are you a boss? You go on this job, you got your little degrees and certifications, and you're smart as a whip. But the person you have to respond to, not quite as sharp as you are. So what do you do about that? We're going to tackle that topic on our marketing sermon today, and what to do when you are smarter than the boss. I want to welcome everybody who's tuning in for the first time. This is the Marketing Pulpit Show. You can find out more about the show by going to marketingpulpit.com. You can listen to past shows, find out what we're all about, see some of the other information on the show. You can also tune in on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, and we're also tuning in occasionally on Radio 1 95.9 FM in the Washington, D.C. area, where we actually launched the show 14 years ago. So we're glad to be here this morning to bring you this information. Let's see here. I had a meeting last night with the faculty of the part-time faculty at Prince George's Community College, Miss Krista Brown over there, a great group of people. And we talked about some great things coming up this fall, making sure that information gets out here in this business development and continuing education program that they have over at the college. And it just goes into tying yourself to something greater. I like to get this information out because when you do it right, people will respond in kind. If you, I'm letting you in on some secrets today. Just tie your business to something greater. The money is nice, but it has to be something, has to be more than just money. There are going to be days when the money's just not coming in. So what are you going to do? Close up and go home? No, because you have a greater calling. And you'll get those emails from people one day that says, "You rock." Somebody's going to say, "You're the best." Somebody's going to say, "You're a genius." Now, these are emails I just got in the last couple of days. And not bragging, I'm just telling you, if you do this right, people will respond in kind. And I'm going to give you another little tip today. You should always be looking for your differentiator. What separates you from other companies? We call that your unique selling position or proposition. Why not make it service? Exceptional service. So you may not be the most high-tech person. You may not be the fastest or the biggest. You may not have been around the longest. You may only have one or few employees. Might be just you. But it doesn't matter how large you are or how small. You can always make service a foundational separator from you and other companies. Doesn't matter your size or what type of business you're in. Just giving you a little tip this morning. It works. It works. Also, if you haven't already, go to marketingpulpit.com, join our business directory. You can go also take the shortcut to mpi.b and the letter Z, mpi.bz. Get your name in that directory so I can shout you out on these airways. A very robust directory over there. As a matter of fact, we got people signing up right and left. Have some of our featured members such as CL Executive Consulting out of Florida. Of course, Mr. Bradley Thomas, law firm out of Washington, D.C., intellectual property law and family law. The Minister of Wellness out of Washington, D.C., Minister Nathaniel Jordan, he's in the directory. Drew University out of Madison, New Jersey. HBCU Leggings, they're in the directory. They just got their, one of our clients just got their products placed in Sam's Clubs, and they're selling this product all over the country. See people out of Newcastle, New Jersey, Newcastle, Washington, Porter Box Storage. I see the Lux Med Spa out of Upper Arlington, Ohio. I see Auburn Foot Care out of Auburn, Alabama. Mr. Marketing SEO out of Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. These are some of the members in our business directory. Get on over there and get your name in the directory and let me shout you out on these airways as well. Let's talk about some items in the news this morning. Also, let's recognize also that this is Black Business Month, the month of August. So let's patronize these businesses, support them. And if you are a Black business, continue to putting out good service and serving our community. We appreciate you and we support you. In the news, we just saw the Democratic National Convention ended last night. Ended by a rousing speech by Vice President Kamala Harris. It's quite an impressive speech. And she touched on some very touchy topics. Some things that people have been asking her to take a stand on. One of those topics was the war in Gaza between Hamas and Israel. And she tried to thread a very tiny needle. That's a very touchy subject. Boy, I'm telling you. I'm glad I didn't have to thread that needle. And of course, no matter what she says, she's going to get some blowback. That's just a touchy situation. And she attempted to thread that needle. It's no matter what you say on that particular topic, it's going to be dicey. No, you shouldn't drop 2,000-pound bombs on a refugee camp, and the civilian toll is much too high. So I think if there was any shortcoming in her speech, which I admit was a very good speech and she touched on that topic, I think it could have been a little bit more about let's limit how these arms are used and what type of weapons to reduce the civilian casualties in Gaza. 40,000 people. That's way too many people to die in this fight. But let's give the vice president credit. She did tackle the topic, and she did acknowledge the human suffering. And so let's vote, people. Vote your conscience this time. It's going to be a very tight election. And however you decide to vote, let's get out there and do it. Otherwise, you can't complain. You can't complain if you didn't participate in the process. Let's say good morning to those folks. I see Attorney Bradley Thomas, and he's sending her good mornings and well wishes. Good morning, Brother Thomas. Brother Thomas has his show on Thursdays. Great show. He's an intellectual property attorney, and he also helps with estate planning. And I see Brother Brown, the greatest plumber in town. Thank you again for tuning in. Also, speaking about the convention, Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, he ended his speech at the convention by saying he is filled with hope and called on the crowd to mobilize their voters in person and online. And he said this, I quote, "Now it's on us. It's on us, my friends, to organize in our communities and on our For You pages." And For You pages, I'm sure many people are like, did he mean Facebook? Did he mean Instagram? Well, For You pages, people call it FYP. And it stands for it's for TikTok. If you're on TikTok, your For You page is like your home page, and it uses TikTok's algorithm to showcase the type of music or the type of videos that you are prone to watch. And so what he was saying is you want to get on people's For You pages. Now, if you're a TikToker, if you're not familiar with TikTok, and you're trying to get your name on or your videos on somebody's For You page, I'll give you 3 quick tips. One, you want to use the hashtags. Hashtags it's common knowledge almost now in all social media circles. It's that looks like the pound sign, and you put in relevant words of interest that could categorize people's way of thinking to bring them to your site. So if I'm marketing, I might do hashtag marketing and advertising, social media. I might hashtag something that's trending, like the convention. Whatever you might find marketing related about the convention that just passed, you would use that hashtag and make it relevant to what you're doing. Also, to improve your chances of getting on somebody's For You page, is to use shorter videos. Now, on TikTok, you can really do a video up to 10 minutes, unlike on Instagram and some of the other platforms, Facebook. You can do a 10-minute video on TikTok, but that doesn't mean you have to do 10 minutes. The average to get you the relevance is between 10 and 20 seconds. Those are the ones that's going to, based on TikTok algorithm, more likely to get you on somebody's For You page. And also, TikTok has this thing about sounds, like music, sounds, and so forth. Unlike some of the other platforms, those sounds, music, selection, and things like that are also a way of sort of like a hashtag. Trending sound, trending music, and TikTok actually has a selection. You go to their website and do it on the drop down. They have trending TikTok sounds. You can put those as the background music on your posts. And those will also get you onto the TikTok For You pages. Now, the TikTok is really one of the hottest things going right now. And so more and more people are now getting on the TikTok. So a lot of people are saying, well, it's for kids, it's for craziness. Well, it's a lot of that too. But if you feed into the algorithm correctly, you too can find TikTok to be very useful in your social media strategies. Let's see a comment from Brother Thomas. He said, I think it was the most unified DNC I've seen in my lifetime. And I've been watching those conventions since 1964. So 64, Brother Ted, how do you think you were born in 64? And I agree. Brother Bradley, the convention, the Democratic National Convention, it was very unified, and it was so diverse. That's the thing I liked about it. It represented America in a very profound way. There was the police, there was the rapping, there was the people, the women talking about productive rights. There was the military. There was the civil rights. Reverend Jesse Jackson getting his accolades. Reverend Al Sharpton. You saw all the Congress people from the different parties. We saw Republicans. We saw Democrats. We saw independents. We saw Oprah. It was one of the most diverse as well as unified conventions I've seen in a long time. So I agree with you on that, Brother Bradley. We're going to take a quick break. No, matter of fact, let's talk about some news items before we go to break. And then we're going to talk about our topic, which is, are you smarter than your boss? What do you do if you're smarter than the boss? We're going to talk about that after the break. Before we get to the break, we're going to talk about a couple of quick items in the news. One is Starbucks is bringing back PSL. You say, what's PSL? Something I don't drink, but it's called a pumpkin spice latte. And it was so popular, they decided to bring it back. Matter of fact, they're bringing it back early so people can get it on. They can jump on it right away. Okay, to all you Starbucks pumpkin spice latte drinkers, there you have it. Here's an interesting story on the AI front, which is AI, of course, an acronym for artificial intelligence. The SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, levied a charge against two companies, and the charge was AI washing. What are you talking about, Robert? What is AI washing? These two companies, Delphia and Global Predictions, they were charged by the SEC for AI washing and AI washing. And AI washing is when you exaggerate the role that artificial intelligence has in your product or service. In other words, one of these companies said that they can predict which companies and trends are about to make it big and invest in them before everyone else. And they say they're using AI to do it. Well, the SEC said, well, you might be using AI, but it's not to that degree. And you're exaggerating it, and they charge them a $400,000 fine. So if you're using artificial intelligence in your products and service delivery, you can't exaggerate and say we are this AI king of the hill and we're using AI. We've got this cutting edge technology. Now you can have AI as part of the service offering. It may help you make you more efficient, may help you deliver a better product, but you can't exaggerate it to say that it's an AI, that you're a cutting edge AI company. So why do people do it? Well, they do it to increase. They're trying to catch in on this buzz about AI. They're saying, look, that's the hot topic right now. So let's catch in on it by saying that we are this AI superstar. They also try to use it to increase their brand value. They might say, well, our brand has been a little weak. Let's ride this AI train. They might use it to increase the perceived value of their products or service. Because if somebody's saying, look, AI is so great and your product is AI based, then you must have a great product. And that's why people use AI watching. Sometimes they use it to increase prices. They say, well, look, we have this AI based or AI infused product. And so that's going to justify me raising the price that I'm offering you. People use it, they AI watch to stay competitive in a very competitive market. And they try to use it to say that I am more advanced than my competitor. But those are nice goals and objectives, but you have to be truthful about it. Okay, so the bottom line is it's tempting to say that you are AI and all that. And you can't say I'm powered by AI if it's not a core component of the product and service that you deliver. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about what to do if you feel that you are smarter than your boss. I wrote a book on this topic a while ago. Matter of fact, I actually did a posting on LinkedIn several years ago, and the darn thing went viral. It was called Smarter Than the Boss. And so I took that posting as the foundation of a book I wrote called Smarter Than the Boss. I took several of my posts that had gone viral or almost viral on LinkedIn, compiled them into a book. You can get that book on Amazon or on the web. So hang on for a second. We'll be back in a minute. This is the Marketing Pulpit Show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host, and we'll be back in a moment. Welcome back. This is the Marketing Pulpit Show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host, and we are here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. bringing you the good marketing gospel. Go to marketingpulpit.com to find out more about the show, and go to mpi.bz to get your name in our business directory, which is growing by leaps and bounds. And let me shout you out on this airways. I'm Robert Gatewood. I am a business developer by trade. You can find out more about me by going to marketingpulpit.com. or gatewoodmarketing.com, or just go to Google and you'll see me just popping up all over the place. I've been out here a while, ladies and gentlemen. Got a few, what do you call it, like a little long in the tooth. Oh boy, anyway, thanks for tuning in. To all the new listeners, thank you. Welcome. To my longtime listeners, welcome back, and thank you for making this show a success. It's been around for 14 years now. And just glad to have you on board this morning. We're a business development show. Started this show 14 years ago, named the Marketing Pulpit to honor my father, who spent 50 plus years in the pulpit as a Baptist minister. He was called to preach to save souls. I was called for a different purpose, to save businesses. And therein lies the name Marketing Pulpit. I'm also an author. I wrote a book a few years ago called Smarter Than the Boss. And that's the topic of my sermon today. What do you do when you're smarter than your boss? Now, many of the folks who listen to this show are not business owners. Some are just graduating from college. Some have a job. They've been on the job many years in government or private industry. Some are kind of working their way out, looking for the exit door. And some are working while they are still trying to grow a business on the side. Now, where you fall on that spectrum matters. What you do, how you do it. But I'll tell you what really also matters is, what do you plan to do next? Is the next move to stay on the job longer, to stay there, or you plan to do something different down the road? That's where this topic comes in. So for better or worse, at some point, you have to deal with a boss. We have these stereotypical views of what a boss looks like, how they act. Much of it's kind of fallacy. But you do have to ask yourself this question at some point. What do you do if you're smarter than the boss? Now, you go on this job, it may have taken you a while to realize that you're smarter than the boss. It may have been something he said, something he or she did, and you start seeing a pattern. You say, wait a minute, I think I'm smarter than this person. But they may have realized it about you right away, that you may be smarter, possibly before you were hired. Now, the good news about this scenario is that most of the time, the boss is not going to draw first blood. They're not going to come out of the gate making life hell for you. Usually, you have to do something to trigger it. But keep in mind that they are kind of sensitive. So the first sign of any kind of condescension or disrespect, and they're going to come down on you like a ton of bricks. So keep in mind, the things I'm telling you today is to be strategic. You have big picture plans. You may be on this job just as a way station to your ultimate goal in life. And so I want you to take this information with a grain of salt. So if you find yourself several degrees, no pun intended, smarter than your boss, then here's some ways to make sure you have a happy work home. Number one, don't charge into the job like a bull in a china shop. Be observant. Sit back and observe for a minute. Size up the intramural relationships. And you know what I mean. Whose son is over here? Who's this lady related to? Who's dating whom? In other words, get a lay of the land. Find out what's going on in that job before you go in there and start turning things upside down. Now, here's something also I want you to do. Realize that smart is a relative term. You may have a bit higher IQ, more book smarts, more degrees, but your boss may actually be better equipped for the job at hand. Being smart is not the only criteria for being an effective leader. There's emotional skills, leadership abilities. These things are also crucial for a successful managerial role. So don't get hung up on the fact that you have more degrees and more book smarts, a high IQ, you had a bigger LSPSA T score, or whatever. There's more to it. So kind of get a hold of yourself. Now keep in mind now, these are people who are going to be on the job for a minute. I'm not telling you to dim your star. I'm just saying be strategic. Don't be a show off when you go into meetings. Now, these meetings, I've been in them now. Let me tell you, a lot of this stuff I'm telling you, I'm speaking from experience. I worked in corporate America for about 25 years, almost 30 years before I became an entrepreneur. I've been there. You need meetings, and this is your boss's time to shine. Sometimes they call these meetings as to boost their ego, to let people know that I'm still in charge. I know what I'm talking about. So don't take this meeting as a chance to blow it for your boss. If you do, you're going to pay for it. Be strategic. So if you have ideas, offer them in a respectful manner. Be modest, but don't go in there trying to show off the boss. You're going to pay. I'm just saying. I'm not saying be a obsequious, malleable lamb, but like in many things in life, you got to be strategic. And this is something that I used to observe when I was in corporate America and in the workplace, working with other people. You plaster all these certificates and degrees and things on your walls in your office. Going all the way back to when you were in the 4-H club. I mean, I get it. You're smart. You got some credentials. But is this the time to show it off? Is this the time and place? Be modest. Modesty goes a long way in the workplace. You have plenty of opportunity to plaster those greaves all over the place when you get your own joint. You get your own spot, your own office, your own company. But when you're in somebody else's house, modesty goes a long way. Also, tone down the big words. Once again, I get it. Okay. You've mastered the vocabulary. Your vocabulary is expansive. You're smart. You're loquacious. But talking over the boss's head is not going to win you any favors. So instead of trying to impress people with your vernacular wizardry, take this quick piece of advice. Action speaks louder than words. Stop showing off. Here's another bit of advice. If you think you're smarter than the boss, I throw the boss a bone every now and then. Ask him for his opinion on something, whether you need it or not. But of course, make sure it's something he or she actually knows how to do. Focus on building a relationship with the boss based on mutual understanding and trust and respect. Particularly if there's a perceived difference in intelligence. Okay. Just remember, being a successful leader is multifaceted. Communication, intelligence. These are things that you bring to the workplace. And sometimes it's not clear cut who's smarter than who. You might think you're smart. That old saying, what the old saying people say, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Well, how do you know if you're the smartest? Who makes that call? I'm going to tell you this. You're on a job for a reason and a season. And if you go in there ticking off your boss, particularly unjustifiably so, he can sabotage that reason and shorten that season. So you've got to be strategic and ask yourself, like Bernie Mac used to say, what are we doing here? What are we trying to prove here? Now, even though it may be obvious to you that you're better equipped than the boss, it's important that you not be perceived as a threat. I even say this even on your, if you're like a consultant. I go into many situations where they hired me because I was supposed to be the smartest guy in that particular area, or at least be the most better equipped. But there's office politics. Sometimes their kids work there. They've got a husband, wife working there. You can't go in there showing off and making people look bad. You make a decision. If you plan to have your own business one day, then be strategic in how you navigate this workplace landscape. Now, these small gestures not only advance your job security, but humility and statesmanship. These are valuable characteristics that not only will serve you as an employee, but they are transferable skills that will help you when you ultimately become an entrepreneur. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap up the show today. Got a nice comment from Mr. Bradley here. He used the parallel about a pocket watch. Where you're learning like a watch. Never take it out to show it off, but only when it's at the time of day. There we go. That sums it up nicely. Brother Bradley. Folks, that's going to wrap it up today. Thank you again for tuning in. This is the Marketing Pulpit Radio Show. We are here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. bringing you the good marketing gospel. We'll be back next week. Believe it or not, we're going to do it again. And in all my shows, if you want to be successful, you have to do these three things. Do the right thing, do it at the right time, and you have to do it right. Enough talk. Let's get to work.
One cup of greens per day will lower your risk of dying from heart attack or stroke by 30%. Hallelujah. One cup of greens per day will lower your risk of dying from heart attack or stroke by 30%. Hallelujah. A half a cup of beans every day will drop you down by another 30%. Because of the fiber and the medicines in the beans will sweep away the cholesterol and the saturated fat. Half a cup of berries per day with all of the antioxidants and flavonoids will drop your risk down. And then finally, a fourth of a cup of nuts and seeds every day will drop your risk down by 33%. You simply eat those foods every single day and take everything else away that's destroying you. And we could eradicate heart disease, high blood pressure, and stroke. Glory! Hallelujah.
Register today and get ready for your health revolution.